Hello, how are you? Dr.
I'm
Herzog.
doing
Does
well.
does anyone ever call you Dr. Herzog?
Very few people. But I always appreciate it.
You
Actually, it's
know,
funny. My sister got me this mug. I don't know if you can see it.
yeah, other neuroscience.
Other neuroscientist is the horse, and then it's the pole dancing unicorn.
Does everyone around Boston in the music scene, do they know that you have a PhD, or is just only a few people know that?
Um, well, I guess now they know.
Well, I talked about it the last time you were on too. I'm fascinated by it too. I think you're smarter than the average rock star, you know?
Well, it's fun. It's just, there's different threads of life. It's a long life. You gotta do some stuff. You gotta find a kind of brain cell that no one's found before. So why not?
Well, I'm
It's
impressed
a
with it.
perfectly fine way to spend your 20s, I think.
You know, it's funny. This is like kind of off topic, but I started singing this the other day. Call me up, 877 hot top. And so I was like, what are you talking about?
I'm getting
I
some
don't
requests for that
get
one.
out. And so this morning I was like, you know what? I wonder if there was a video for that. There was, and I found it and I recognized people in your hot tub. And I
Actually
was
a
like,
really good video done by Roger Metcalf and his team. Yeah, I mean, honestly, that was like a turning point for me where I really started to take music and stuff a lot more seriously when I was like, oh, people actually like believe in my bands. Like, I guess I never had experienced anything like that before. Um, I'm envisioning some really DIY affair with one guy show up to my friend's house. This is at Kristen and Rice Holiday's house. And Yeah, it's just like this whole professional team of people that Rogers assembled. I'm like, wait, this is like legitimate. Like,
did a great job. It's a
I
really good
just,
hot. Rainy
really,
was
really
in it.
appreciated it.
Rainy
What?
was in your video.
Yeah,
Rainy,
yeah.
I
Lots
love
of
them.
people.
Yeah.
Brooke, Nira, yeah, lots of people. Aaron.
So how's your chaotic bisexual summer going, anyways?
It's
This is
going
the
really
one.
well.
This
It's
this is
going
the one, right? This is the chaotic bisexual
well,
summer, right?
every any summer can be a chaotic bisexual summer if you try hard enough. But yeah, it's been going really well. We went on a tour to celebrate this song and to, go to the Midwest and try it out, just hit the road. Never had done anything like that before. It was like 10 cities.
It's funny because
And
I was just
it
gonna
was a
say the
blast.
last time we spoke, you had just released Fashion Show, and I even wrote down here, I think you were headed to the Midwest, but you've been there twice, right? Since then?
Yeah, well, those shows were just one-off. So, like, I was just visiting family for that. But this was like a tour. Like, we bought a van this year. That was a big step for the band. And it's like, this is part of our life now. Like, we're doing this. It's been a goal of mine for a while that I don't think, I didn't think I was gonna do anything like this, especially like I'm in my 30s now. It's like I did everything backwards. You're supposed to do that, get all the partying out in your 20s and then, settle down like whatever in your 30s, but it's like I'm doing everything backwards. I worked in my career in 20s and then now it's like, all right, I'm in a good place and it's time to really invest in the band. And so, with that spirit, it's like we just decided to put together this DIY tour and yeah, I worked really hard and booked it all basically myself.
Wow.
And we did it and I was nervous. I mean, 8 hours in the car, you might end up killing each other, but I
I've been
actually
there.
had a blast. I had the time of my life. I mean, I felt like it was just like every night we had this purpose. Everyone did their job. And like every night it was just like we killed it. And like every time I got more confident with it. By the time we were at our last show in New York, we had played one-off shows in New York, but I felt a stark difference between those like, one-off shows versus we're coming from like almost 2 weeks of playing every single night, and, like, I could see it in the crowd, I could feel it in, like, my energy, and, I mean, it just was amazing, like, honestly, it's hard not to be depressed now that it's over, like, I'm just trying to plan something
A lot of
like
people
this for
say
the
that when they go
future.
on the road and they come back,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
didn't realize that that would be a thing for
No,
me as well.
did you go straight to Minnesota and then come back? Was that the plan?
Yeah, so we had a bunch of stops on the way. So let me see. We went to Rochester, New York.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it was really fun. We got to visit this famous music store, the House of
It's one
Guitars.
of the
That was
coolest
super fun.
places. One of the
I looked on
coolest
the
places.
wall. Oh, I had this moment. I looked on the wall of all the autographs and I was looking for someone I knew. The first one I saw, it was like, best of luck, Mark Sandman from Treat Her Right. It was like
Wow.
pre-morphine too. It was like, oh my God. I was just like, holy crap. That was like the first one I saw. After that, we went to Toledo, Ohio, and now the band has our little inside joke. We're like, "That's so Toledo." Um, and, after that, we were in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This was, like, such a fun little punk show, and I just love the crowd, like, everyone was so nice. Um, and then after that, we pulled an all-nighter. We drove all night to get to, Minnesota. And so I had this surreal moment. It's like the sun was coming up. I was just like watching it and yeah, just like rolling into my hometown. It was like this is like being reborn. It's like I'm actually coming here as like a person who's like proud of everything I've accomplished. Like I'm coming here under my own terms. Like, it just felt really good. I got to spend some time with my folks, which was, like, really nice. We played actually 2 shows in Minneapolis. One show was at Palmer's, which is actually voted, like, one of the best dive bars
Yeah.
in the US. Um, and we played that one with Cindy Lawson, which was super fun because she was actually in Boston, like, for our single release show at the Jungle. She was doing her first shows in Boston. We've had like a nice friendship we struck up over the years with her band. So that was super fun. And then the other show was on July 3rd. So it was really well attended. Like everyone was out because like people had the day off for the 4th. And it was at Mortimer's. And it was super fun. It was like a showcase for this coffee shop. So there's a lot of people there, a lot of different acts going on. Yeah, it was super fun. And then we took a day off for the 4th, and then the 5th we were in Chicago, and that was probably one of my favorite shows. Like I hadn't played there ever, and it was really cool. We got to play with this band I really love called Odysseys. That's like originally from the Boston area. They grew up there. They ended up moving to Chicago
Wow.
later on, but we played with them in Boston a year ago. And like, do you know the venue, the Lily Pad in Inman
Yeah.
Square?
Yeah.
They packed it probably was like 150 people in there, like, it was insane, it was the most people I'd ever seen at the Lily Pad, and that was our show with them. So and I just love their music, it's, like, post-punk and just, like, really cool, really catchy. So we had a great show with them in Chicago, and, after that, where did we go? We had a Columbus show, this was at a laundromat punk rock laundromat, Dirty Dungarees,
Oh,
and
wow. There's
someone
one of those in in Cincinnati,
oh, for
Sudsy.
real? Maybe it's
Yeah,
like an Ohio thing, but yeah, you
it
could like
must be.
freaking get beer in the laundromat. It was so
Yes.
cool. And someone doing their laundry liked our shirt and like it was just like really fun. Um and
You could do your
what else
laundry while
happened
you're
then?
playing and
I
if you're on
know.
tour, it's
Well, it's
perfect for
funny, we actually
bands.
were able to do laundry in the Twin Cities, so luckily we were all set, but next time I'm gonna plan the stop around that for sure.
Let me
Um
stop you for one second because I know
oh,
you
yeah. No,
told
we
me
got a couple more.
you told me you were really active. You weren't really active in a band when you were in St. Paul. You did coffee houses and stuff. So
Yeah,
how
yeah.
did people react to you like, did you people know that you knew come and see you? What did they think of your whole new persona? Did they know about you and
I
what
had
you
a couple high school friends who came out, I had a friend, I was actually in a band with her. She came out to the show, which was really cool. But we didn't do much of anything when we were in the band. Like we were just kids. We were just having fun writing songs
Yeah,
together.
yeah, I think you
Um
told me you did some high school shows, but it
Yeah,
was mostly
we
just
did some shows at the high
yeah.
school. It was really fun, but like I never thought I would be, in a serious band that actually was on tour. So I was just like really happy about it. Most people who come see us in the Twin Cities, I think they didn't know me back in the day. They just are getting to know me now as an adult, which is also nice. But
Minnesota's
yeah,
been in
a
the
couple
news
friends.
a Minnesota's been in the news a
Yes,
lot
yeah,
lately. I
it
love it.
has. Yeah, I'm all for that.
Yeah, me too. I think I told you last time I've had a lot of people from Minneapolis on my show. Maybe because, it was such a
Yeah, the
great
Bays and
scene.
Toyland.
But, I didn't want to interrupt you before. After
Oh,
Chicago,
yeah, sorry.
yeah, go ahead. You were
Oh,
doing a great
just 2
job.
more, just 2 more. Okay. So then after the 2nd Ohio show, we
Columbus.
drove past, like, a ton of corn, and then, we did a house show in Reading, Pennsylvania that was super fun. It was at this, like, gothy house. Oh, it was a blast, and, like, so the basement was all decked out for shows. It was very small space, very intimate venue. Everyone was super cool, though. And then we just booked it to New York. We figured if we get to Brooklyn, like we can still get a drink. Like the bars are open till 4. So we just went for it. And that's exactly what we did. And then the next night we had our show, which was actually in Manhattan. That's the first time we played Manhattan as opposed to Brooklyn. And I really, really enjoyed it. The venue is super nice. It's called Heaven Can Wait. I was just like psyched. I mean, this is like by far our best New York show ever. And I mean, we've been trying to like have like even like a decent, okay New York show since like 2021. And I felt like this was like, all right, like, we've been promoting this every day for like 2 weeks. People are finally starting to take us seriously in New York. So it felt really good. It felt like the work had paid off by the time we were all done with that. And then, we came home and now we're working on the next couple of releases. I threw together a little music video for that song Cherry that's also going to
I
be on the
saw it.
EP. All the tour footage. So that was really
Yeah.
fun. And now we got another single coming soon.
Okay, hold on a second. You're always so full of energy that you're like a runaway train. Whenever I talk to you, you're always in this on the same speed. You said you finally got the right combo together to do the hands, and was it Ray that went on tour?
So that's the funny part. We actually had a fill-in drummer for the tour.
Oh, who was it?
Ray was actually he's been out, but he's back now. Some health stuff. But he's good. He's all good now. But we actually had Tom filling in on drums. So you might remember him from the band Corner Soul from
Oh,
the
okay.
Rumble. Same Rumble that Power Slow was in. I ended up stealing their rhythm section. But, he was available to play drums for the tour. I mean, you might not know, but he's actually like a good drummer as well. So, yeah, that was the band that went on tour. It's funny, we've actually played in like me, Hans and Tom have played in a band before, but it was actually Tom on bass and Hans on drums. So, I'm not
Wow.
sure we actually ever played together live in this sort of iteration, but our first EP was recorded with that lineup. Um, I think they might have traded
So you
off on
guys had
bass
some
and drum.
chemistry already to
Yeah,
play
so
together.
it's like we just had one rehearsal and then it was like, all right, time to hit the road. Yeah, I just wanted to make it happen. I didn't want to go on tour doing like the singer-songwriter acoustic-y stripped down thing. Like that's not really what gets me off. So it's like I just wanted it to be like, no, we have a full band. I was willing to just like go with a random drummer, like if we couldn't find anyone we knew. But I'm really glad we were able to go and have Tom do it. So
And you booked
yeah.
it all yourself. I've done that for band.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
booked tours. It's not easy.
It
So
was hard. It took like months to get everything together with all the bands and stuff and the venues. Yeah.
did you have a lot of dates fall through and you had backup dates, or did your first choices come through? I know
Well, a
that.
lot of them, it was like the none of the venues responded except for one. So it's like, okay, I guess we're doing it there. But like overall, I think like that fell into place pretty quick. There was a couple of the dates it was hard to find bands, but like eventually we just did, you know.
Well, congratulations. Now that you've done it
Thank
one
you.
time, you'll be able to do it again and
Well,
again
next
and
time we're
again and
thinking
again.
of adding some cities and like, going to Canada,
Go all
doing
the
the
way to California.
Toronto, Detroit thing because we didn't get to do Detroit. We've got some friends
Yeah. You
so I'm
guys would
like,
do well in Detroit. I'm surprised you didn't. Toledo's close to Detroit, but it's not Detroit.
well, it was just like we knew we had that Minnesota gig on the Wednesday, so we were sort of planning around that. We had like a couple gigs that were like we knew we could get them, so we just planned the whole thing around that and kind of mapped it all out on Google Maps and figured that like I don't know, 6-7 hour drive would be sort of like the max that was comfortable
Yeah.
in a day and kind of planned around that. But it all worked out. I mean, like I just I don't know, I loved it.
I'm going to try and go in chronological order here since the last time
Okay.
I talked to you. You did a great duet with Carissa Johnson in the
Oh yeah.
city. I really like that one. Can you talk about that a little bit? Before that, you two both started in Boston around the same time. So have you known each other the whole time? Talk about that and then talk about the single and the
Yeah,
video.
we actually have known each other for a long time. Like I want to say 2014, 2015. Like as you said, we both were starting around the
Yeah.
same time. I just really liked her songs. I really liked her band. We met when she actually booked a show in New Hampshire for Power Slut. And that was like the first time we met. It was like this 5 band bill at like the Jewel nightclub in Manchester, New Hampshire. It was
Wow.
very random. Especially considering Power Slut rarely played outside of Boston. And then after that, like we just kept crossing paths, and I was like, yeah, like she's freaking awesome. And of course, she had this great performance in the Rumble in 2017, and I was just so psyched because it was like no female fronted bands had won the Rumble like since I had started attending the Rumble in like I want to say 2011, 2012. So I was just like really excited about it. And yeah, like we became friends, started collaborating more. And she's moved to New York, so I feel like now it's like I have a reason to go to New York more, which is super cool. I love having friends there. And yeah, I just think it's really a cool story how we've been able to sort of like work together as artists on our own separate stuff, but also like do some stuff collaborating. Like she's done some videos for us. Like Pathological Liar was one that we just had a blast. And it was like we would plan shows, but then it would be like the day of it, we would do a video shoot. So it was like we'd have these like really awesome, like art-filled weekends. And so the way that In the City came about, actually, this was like I want to say it was pretty soon after stuff was sort of starting to open up after COVID. And LCD Sound System had a residency at this venue,
Yeah.
Brooklyn Steel. And they actually, I think they ended up canceling a lot of it because COVID was coming back. But I actually got to go before they canceled the rest of the series. And it was like really random. It was like a Monday. I remember I had to give like a scientific talk, or it was like a Tuesday or something. I had to give a scientific talk the day before, and like there were several days it could have been, and I was like, can it be this day? Like and then I got the time slot I wanted, and it was just like, yay. And then we went, and it was just like incredible. The world was opening back up, and Hans and I walked up to the venue. There's this sign, and it's like we still have the poster up on our wall. It's like, "You are here." It's like a little lightning bolt. And it was just like, we're here, like we're going to this LCD Sound System show. And so after that, I woke up in the morning and I just like started writing the song in the city
Oh, you
based on
wrote
all
the
the things
song.
we had seen. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't realize that. So did you go to Carissa and ask her to do the duet with you?
Yeah. So it was close to Christmas and she was in town for like some holiday stuff. And at that point we just were like, do you want to jam on this with us? Like we didn't really have a bass line for the song. At that point, Hans was still the drummer of the band. And we were just like, come jam. And then like instantly the song came together and she wrote a really killer bass line for it. And we were really lucky. She had a hookup with a recording studio in Brooklyn, and she was like, "Do you want to like come back and record it?" I was like, "Whoa!" Like I didn't realize this was like gonna be a serious thing, even like. And then
Came out
yeah,
great.
Vanessa Silverman recorded it, and it was super cool. And then we also recorded a music video that weekend. So there's just a lot of adventures. And then it's funny because I actually, that was the weekend I wrote No Vision based on a hangout that I had with Carissa and then my friend Bedouin Punk, Manira. So it's kind of like, okay, we did this and it led to that, and it led to that song, and then that song led to like this plan. And that's kind of like how I live my life now,
Hmm.
and how I
I'm going to
hope it.
talk to you about your songwriting in a minute because I'm interested in your process. Um, then after that in 2023, you released a Mirrors EP.
Yeah.
That was the first time you worked with Ethan over at New Alliance, right?
Well, Power Slut actually worked with him a little on the last
Oh,
album.
okay.
So I did know him. I knew him through the EMF building, of course. Like we used to have a, oh, excuse me, a rehearsal space over there. Power Slut did.
Oh, you
And
did.
then, everything moved over to the new Alliance building, but it was super convenient because like Hans and I live really near there.
Yeah, and
So
that was the first time
really
he
nice.
actually played bass. He moved from drums to bass on that record. Was
Yeah,
that the
that was
first?
the first one with our current lineup with Super Tough Ray Clough on drums and Hands on the
Super
bass.
tough.
Yeah.
Well,
Um
that's a great
that was really
lineup.
fun. Yeah,
And
it
then
was crazy. That lineup had only been together for like a month when we recorded that. And we're like, nope, we're just gonna do it. Oh wait, that's not true. It'd been like a couple months. I think I'm confusing that one with like the current EP.
I can see how you could get confused. You have a lot
Yeah.
of material, a
I mean,
lot.
I just feel like you got to keep moving because,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. There's no point in like sitting on songs for like 10 years and not recording it because it's like, I'm just gonna get bored. Like, everyone's in the audience is gonna get bored. So it's like, you got to just move on. Like, I think some people, they wish that we would play songs off that full length album more, the 2022 fashion show. But it's like,
You've
I
moved
don't know, man.
on.
I wrote better songs since then. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's like you can put the album on if you want to hear them, but we're not gonna play every song on there. Like, we're gonna play the good ones. Like, we're gonna play Rat People. Like, I don't know. I think it was a time capsule for the COVID era, but a lot of those songs, I feel like it didn't quite make sense to play them, especially when the band had a new lineup and we were writing songs with that lineup.
Yeah. In June you released the Chaotic Bisexual Summer single.
Yeah, that
Those are
was a lot
some pretty
of
hot lyrics.
fun. Thank you.
Did you write that song from I have to ask this question. Did you write that song or maybe even any of your songs from personal experience, or was it just something that was in your head that you needed to like get the words and music out for? Is that a hard
I
question? I don't think.
No, it's not a hard question. No, everything's written from someone's personal experience. I would say 90% of it is my own personal experience, but that particular song was actually written. Some of it was written from a friend's personal experience. Some of it was written from my personal
So a
experience.
friend was telling you about things that they went through and you
Yeah,
converted into your own
yeah.
song. I like that.
Yeah, it was fun because it's like sometimes I'm like, oh, I didn't know you were queer. And then it's like we have this thing in common. It's just like it's cool. Like, yeah.
It's chaotic. Uh,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that song I'm sure has gotten a really good response from your fans.
It honestly, like, I was surprised, like, especially like we put the video up on YouTube. It's like, oh, like random people are actually commenting on this. Like, usually it's just like my three friends comment on our YouTube videos. Like, we don't exactly have the biggest audience on there, I don't think. But this one, it was like, I think just because of the title, people were like, yeah, like
It's a
this is
catchy
great.
title. Plus, you the
It's
shirts too,
funny, I
right?
had the title way before I wrote the song, so, like, I think I had the title for, like, a year, and it was like, "Is this the song?" And then the song ended up being, Big Mirrors off the Mirrors EP, because that song's about a chaotic bisexual summer. I was like, "This isn't the song." Then finally, I was talking with my friend, and I was like, "Okay, I think we have the song," like, and it just kinda came together.
Wow. You have a very interesting life going on. There's no doubt about that.
It's a long life.
So basically, all you, as far as songwriting goes, a lot of your songs are from personal experience or your friends' experiences.
Yeah, but I try to, like, obscure it so it's not, like, super on the nose. I mean, I guess that song's a bad example, it is pretty on the nose, but I think something that sorta changed for me, like, over time, I mean, you get the Power Slut lyrics, like, everything is super direct, and it's like, "I'm just gonna say the dirtiest thing, ha, ha, ha." But,
And you
like,
do.
I think with Linnea's Garden, it's like, yeah, I do have a couple songs like that, there's, like, The Patriarchy, we play that at every show, which was actually written during the Power Slut era, of course, and then we have Chaotic Bisexual Summer, but then a lot of the other songs are, like, the lyrics are more interpretable by the listener. It's like, I'm just giving this one away. It can be whatever you want. Like, Comeback is one. It was interesting. Like, I had so Tom was actually just here. And he covered the song Comeback, and I was like, this is so cool. And it just like really goes to show that like now it belongs to the listener.
Yeah.
Have I know what the song's about, but it's like it could really be a lot of things. No Vision's another good example of that. I have
Before we talk about that one, I want to talk about Cherry first because
oh
you
yeah, yeah,
released,
yeah, of
yeah, you
course.
released Cherry. What I was that from the same session as Chaotic Bisexual Summer? It was. I thought so.
Yeah,
I remember running into you at New Alliance a few times, and I knew you were recording.
yeah.
Why did you call the song Cherry instead of Cherry Blossom?
Just because there's a lot of songs called Cherry Blossom, and Cherry is more vague, and also okay, this is like a little embarrassing, but I was sort of thinking about Demi Lovato's song Cool for the Summer, and she's like, talking about wanting to hook up with a woman. And she's like, a taste of the cherry. I just want to take a bite of the cherry, whatever. So I was sort of thinking about that because like the song is about like being in Miami, seeing a lot of hot people. Like so it's just about seeing all these new things and wanting to take a bite of it, like so yeah, that's why it's cherry.
You're not sexual at all. Um,
No.
Uh, well, anyway, that's really good. That song, and that it's so funny because it's like now going to be your older song, and it just came out like 2 weeks ago. I mean, you're such a machine because I know you want to talk about No Vision, which I got to tell you, I've listened to all of your stuff that you've been putting out since you started this band during the pandemic, is when Linnea's Garden started,
Yeah,
and No
2020.
Vision is could end up being my favorite song. And I just heard it. I listened to it 3 times because I just got
Oh
it
wow.
from you. I really like it. Great song, great lyrics. The guitar playing on it is stellar. Your guitar playing is really, really getting better and better. Do you feel that way about your guitar
Yeah.
playing?
I think especially with this song, it took a turn because it's like there was this part of the solo. It's like, okay, we could cheat, we could overdub it. And then I was like, no, I really want to like try. And then eventually I was able to get it, but it was like, it actually took a lot of effort, to be honest. I think this one, it's driven by the riff, you know, it was
Yeah.
created from a jam that we did. And then the lyrics kind of came later, which is like, I like the songs that are written like that because that's not how I used to
So
write
you
at
had the
all.
music done and then you went back and did the lyrics.
We had sections of the music were done. So actually the first thing that we had was the part with the clean guitar with the pretty chords like doo 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 doo. Yeah.
Poppy, very poppy.
We just had that and then later we're like what if we add oh wait, actually no. I think we had one dissonant chord. That was the first thing and then the clean ones. So it was like that crazy like just dirty like dissonant chord. It was like, "Huh, that's kind of interesting. But what if we put something really clean with it?" Um and it was just like, "Okay, where is it going to go?" Well, obviously it's going to B major. That's like the only place it can go. And then I kind of had these lyrics in mind after that visit to New York, and it kind of just all we made it fit together, and it was really cool. And I think people are gonna be surprised after hearing Chaotic and Cherry and this one because it kind of takes like a left turn music style. But I think most of the EP is actually closer to this style than Cherry and Chaotic.
You're talking about looking forward to the moment,
Yeah,
which we'll talk about,
yeah.
which is going to be the eventually. First, I want to go back for a second about the guitar playing. Um, of a lot of people that have been around you and watched you grow, are they noticing you? Because you're legitimately a great guitar player, but you're getting better and better. Like you could probably go play guitar in another band if you wanted to and just be a guitar player. Do your friends and your colleagues or people around you, fellow, not colleague, you can't call them, well, I guess you could call musicians colleagues, other musicians, but are they saying anything to you and noticing how, and was there, like, did you take lessons? Did you start playing with, get together with another guitar player? Or is this just something that just happened?
I think it kind of happened gradually. I took on a few projects, mostly cover projects that were really challenging
That
for me, and
helps.
that's sort of how the journey started. So the one I can remember is like a Patti Smith cover band, and I had to
Mm.
learn this really challenging guitar solo. I'm blanking on the name of the song, but
Lenny K guitar
yeah,
solo.
it wasn't Because the Night, it was a different song, but I just was having a lot of trouble with that, and, like, having to learn all that, it kind of, like, forced me to level up, and then, you know, I was part of a Joan Jett cover band as well, which was a lot of fun, and then also Queens of the Stone Age, but we called it Queers of the Stone
Yeah,
Age.
yeah.
So, I think a lot of those, it kinda, like, forced me to challenge myself, and then I started incorporating some of those into, like, original songs as well,
Is this
and,
all by ear or do you like read music too?
I use, like, YouTube and tabs to help and did
Tabs.
but most of it was, like, combination of that and by ear, but, I mean, YouTube is, like, an amazing resource for a lot of these, like, they show the finger position and everything, and, yeah, I honestly, like, I don't know how, like, I would've learned guitar before YouTube, like, for some of these, like, that would've taken
Yeah, especially
hours
Lenny
of work trying to
K.
figure it out.
Especially
Yeah,
Lenny K. He's a really
yeah.
interesting, different kind of
Oh,
guitar
the song
player.
was Revenge, that's the song,
Oh,
I think.
cool.
Yeah, no, it was, like, so difficult, though, at the time, and I remember, like, it's, like, sold out show at O'Brien's, no pressure, like, Halloween, and, like, nailed it, like, I just felt really good about that. That was probably 2018, um,
So do
and
you ever
then
have the conversations with other guitar players that notice your guitar playing and ask you about it?
well, yeah, like, you know, the guys in Girl with the Hawk, like,
Oh, yeah.
Dan Coughlin, Richard, like, you know, I think a lot of these cats, like, they kinda try to mimic the exact riffs from different songs, but, I'm coming from, like a writer's perspective
Mhm.
with guitar. So it's like I never tried to learn specific riffs really. I mean, maybe when I was like first starting a little bit, but a lot of it like was just like, no, I'm trying to tell a story with the guitar. So I was more into like just learning the chords at first, doing the strummy kind of thing. But then I kind of just like got bored with that. Like, and I was like, I want to play more like riffs and then like learn how to sing while I play the riffs, which was like never something I was good at. And then I just kind of started incorporating like basic versions of that into songs. And then it forced me to like play it a lot. And then eventually it was like, okay, I'm going to try and like put stuff in the song that's like a little bit more challenging than what I can actually do right now. So I have to learn it. And then like, eventually you just do. Like, there's a really difficult to play song on the EP, and, it hasn't been in our live set recently, but I'm really excited to put it back because, like, this was another big level up for me. It's like a ska beat, which I just found, like, that rhythm was, like, hard to play. I'd never really had a ska song in the whole repertoire of, like, all of the songs and all the bands I've been in. So, like, that really felt good, like, getting to, play that. But yeah, everything's gradual. It's
Been a
just like
great
about
evolution
how
for
much
you.
you wanna take on and challenge yourself, you know?
Yeah, it's been a great evolution for you for sure. There's a quote, and I'm not sure if this is you or someone did the quote. It says, it's about the EP, which is looking forward to the moment that's coming out in November. The EP follows 1 year and a 30-something artist and scientist's life as she searches for meaning amongst patterns that keep repeating. Is that your quote or is that someone else's quote?
Yeah, I wrote that yesterday. Um,
You wrote that yesterday.
yeah, I just
Okay.
was like, "Oh, I should probably, like, make an EPK for this song." Um,
Okay,
I
I
write it
pulled
in
it.
first person, then I change it to third person,
Yeah,
that's what I do.
you just sent me some stuff yesterday, and I pulled it out of there, and I was like, "What
Well, you're the first
patterns?"
person to hear, No Vision, so it's like I had to just, like,
I
write this.
am.
Like, I
I'm
don't
honored.
have any, like, reviews of it yet, you know what I'm saying? So,
Oh,
yeah,
well,
it's me writing that.
people know me, that know how I look and listen to music, and if I'm saying this is a great fucking song, believe me, you gotta hear it. It is. Now, what patterns are you repeating besides recording several times a year, or maybe some of your sexual patterns? I don't know. What are you talking about?
I was actually
Scientific
thinking
patterns?
yeah, I was thinking more, like, with, starting jobs and, like, feeling burnt out, just, like, the cycle of burnout and, like, having to deal with the daily necessities of capitalism and working for the man, trying to break free of that, but at the same time feeling as though you need capital, right, to invest in your music and stuff. It's like you can get that from yourself or you can get it from other people, but it's like you need it. And just like the necessities of having to like do the day-to-day grind, but trying to balance that with your art and being an artist, I think is what this song is about and what the theme of the EP is.
When you say changing jobs, have you changed jobs in your scientific world? Or if you
Yeah, yeah. So, in COVID, I basically like I finished my grad school and started one job and then a couple like 2 years ago, I started my current job. So, yeah, about every 2 years there's been kind of a transition and I think, like, those 3 were pretty jarring transitions for me, very different scientific environments, very different purpose for the work. Um, I think it's really cool. So, I mean, I'm working right now on gene therapies for hearing loss, which is, like, really, really, really cool. The way that the work is done is, like, in industry setting, it's very different than working for, an academic lab or doing your own research program that like you came up with, which is what, grad students do. And so it's been a very different mindset that goes into all of that. And I've seen it's affected sort of the way I make my art and the way I think I make my music. And I'm not saying it's good or bad. Like it's just something I've noticed that is a
Hmm,
pattern that repeats.
interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, see, I didn't realize you were writing songs about your other life. Now, how many
Yeah,
years
it's in a bunch of the songs. It's kind of like hidden, but it's like, you know, there's certain words in there you might notice are like not in other people's songs, but
you're
I
very
get them from my
unique.
science world.
It's very unique because how many there aren't a lot of people like I've interviewed some musicians that have PhDs, but not in neuro. You're a neuroscientist, right?
Well, it's a kind of a new field, so I think, people weren't getting PhD in neuroscience until pretty recently. So,
How many
yeah,
years
before it would have been
total?
biology.
How many years total did you have to go to school from undergrad to grad? And do you have a master's too, or did you just get a bachelor's and a
You
PhD?
can skip the master's in my field. So I have a bachelor's and then I just got the PhD, which took like 5.5 years. 4 years of undergrad too. So yeah, I was in school for
Nine
a bit.
years?
Yeah. I didn't
Wow.
do it all in one go though. Like I worked a job in between the two.
And I think you told me last time is Brandeis is where you got your PhD, right?
Yeah, Brandeis. Yeah. It's funny, like, I actually somehow knew I was gonna go there, like, since I was 21. Like, a Facebook memory popped up, and it was like, "I'm thinking about Brandeis for neuroscience.
Were
It's
you
12 minutes
familiar?
away in the commuter rail." What?
Were you familiar with Boston at all? I mean,
Yeah, I was living in Boston.
oh,
Like, I went to
Wellesley.
college in the area, so,
You went to
like, I was
Wellesley, yeah.
familiar. Yeah, yeah.
So you
Um,
mean while you were at Wellesley, you were thinking about Brandeis. What made you
yeah.
think about Wellesley when you were in Minnesota?
Like, honestly, a teacher told me to apply there, because it was good for science. Because there aren't grad students, so the undergraduate students got to actually do science research in the labs, and it was the only school I got into that was not in Minnesota, so I kind of wanted to go somewhere else, so I was like, "I'm going there." It was actually great, like, I got to do, like, really cool research there, and I saw just speaking of repeating patterns, it's like the patterns of like principles of sound and physics, like also can apply to the brain. And it's like super cool. And this is just like how I got into the field. I was always into psychology and biology and stuff, but like this was like, I don't know. It just like it hit this part of my brain that was like, yes, like this is what I want to study. And like I was able to sort of put that plan into action. I mean, it's crazy. I knew exactly how I was gonna spend my 20s science-wise, like, when I was 21, and, like, I did it, like, and I was done, and then I turned 30, and I literally got my degree the month I turned 30, and then 1 month later was COVID. So, yeah,
Wow.
it was just, like that just, like, derailed everything, obviously, and, it was interesting because it was like I had this plan for my 20s that was like I followed it to the T and stuff is like kind of different now and I'm able to really invest more time and energy on music and it's been really really cool and I'm just excited to see where this decade takes me.
You really have a fantastic story. There's no doubt about it. Okay, so I have all these shows I'm looking at that you
Oh
have coming
yeah,
up. You have a lot of shows I'm looking at
a
here.
lot of shows.
But the closest one I think, well, I know you're playing tonight or tomorrow night.
Literally
Yes,
tonight.
it's pointless talking about that one.
Yeah.
But on September 6th, you have a show at the Middle East with, and I want to ask you about these bands because I'm not
Oh
familiar.
yeah.
Lip Smear, Tiffy, and Lover of Life.
Lover of Eve.
Oh, why did I write like? Well, it's a typo. It's a
Lover of
typo. Eve. Okay,
Life.
so are these bands that you're friends with?
Yeah, yeah. So, Lip Smear is a new project. Do you know Freeze Pop? Sean Drinkwater is
Oh
in
yeah,
the band. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, and it's fronted by Dave Unger, who's been in a lot of like hard rock bands, but it's more of like a gothy, like sort of post-punk vibe. And I saw
Dave,
them twice. They're
Dave,
excellent. Oh my God,
Dave
they're so good.
Unger is in another band. Wow. Huh.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I go way back with Dave. He used to be in a band called Random Road Mother was the first one I saw him
Oh,
in.
I'm not familiar with that one. That might have been before my time.
Late 90s, late 90s.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And then Tiffy.
Yeah, so Tiffy is the project of my friend Tiffany Sammy, and she's really cool. It's like indie rock. They put out a lot of really excellent releases in the past couple years. You know, they're touring. They're kind of like they know the deal. Like they're really really awesome. Great songs. And then Lover of Eve is a band we played with at the Middle East like a little while back, and I just really love their energy. Yeah, they're really great live.
So you're able to put together your own shows at the Middle East, which if people that aren't from around the Boston area and don't know, that's not an easy thing to pull off. You have to get a following, you have to get a
Yeah.
relationship with them, and it takes years sometimes. So you've reached that point, and that's an accomplishment that you must be happy about.
Yeah, I feel really good about that, you know. It's really fun.
Uh, and then you go into New Haven, you go into Hartford. I can't
Yeah,
imagine
we have
Hartford.
some Connecticut friends. You know, gonna see them and try out a couple. We call this like the little pizza weekend because it's like two pizza
Oh,
places.
yeah, New Haven's famous for pizza.
Yeah.
Um, and you have Burlington, Vermont, which is a great town to play.
Yeah, I'm
Playing up,
excited. I never played that venue, but a band actually reached out, Violent Crimes. Yeah, they were like, "We love your songs." Like, so we're doing that one September 28th at Arts Riot. So
they'll
really
be get
excited to get back to Vermont.
yeah, and they'll get back to you about helping you get them a show in Boston eventually.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And then you got, you know, Lowell, then back in Somerville, Westfield, Providence, you're playing with Soraya. That's an interesting bill right there. I know Soraya. Uh,
Yeah,
they're
she asked
more
me to set up that show, and I was like, "Hell yeah." Like, we did a
Z
great show in Boston like a couple years ago. So,
oh,
yeah,
you
we're doing
played with them before. Zuzu,
We
is
actually
that
played with them in Boston and Providence, now that I'm remembering.
Zuzu? Is that her name? Su
Yeah, yeah.
Zuzu. Yeah, she's cool. I've talked to her on the phone before. I like her. And
Yeah, that band
they're more of a big straightforward in your
yeah,
face.
straight on rock and roll,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, it should be a lot of fun.
And then in October, you've got the Middle East Upstairs supporting Drinking Boys and Girls Choir.
Yeah, punk rock band from Korea. Like, I mean, I'm just so excited. This is gonna be like the Halloween show, I
They
think.
called you the
It's
Middle
on
East.
Halloween.
Did the Middle East call you?
Actually, the people who work with the band, yeah. So I'm really excited about this. I mean, like, yeah, we're just like really thrilled to be supporting such an awesome band.
We're not
They
done yet
just
either. We're not
so
done
they
yet
just
because
toured
then you
with
get.
Ottobocky Beaver. What?
I said we're not done yet. I didn't mean to interrupt
No,
you.
we're
I do that a lot. Sorry. Um,
no, you're good.
then you've got the looking forward to the moment EP release. Like how you gave that
Yeah, that'll be in mid-November. So
you gave that
yeah,
tour a name
I
already. I
just
like
put
that.
that one together.
Deep
Like
cuts in
literally
Med
just finished like 2 days ago.
Deep cuts in Medford. JJ's Tavern in Florence. I don't even know where Florence, Massachusetts
It's
is, to be
near
honest with you.
Northampton. Yeah, it's
Oh,
Western Mass.
Western. I love
Yeah.
Western Mass. And then back down to New Haven in New York City. This is a lot of, you got a good schedule here. Real good.
Yeah. It's very exciting, you know. It's like buckle up.
Wow. So then let me guess, you're probably going back in the studio.
Yep. Yeah, we're
Is
just starting to talk about that, but yeah, that's the general cycle we're on is like write and record in the winter, you know, tour in the summer, release music summer and fall.
so your science career is pretty much paying for your music career at this point because aside from Red on Red, I'm not trying to be funny, I'm being serious. Aside from Red on Red, have you been on another label or you're doing this all yourself pretty much, right?
We're DIYing it right now. I think we're open, you know, to being on a label, but you know, for right now, I think we're trying to be really strategic about who we work with. So
I
Yeah, I
I
think if the
can't
right one comes along, we'll be open to it. But for now, we're kind of forging ahead ourselves.
I can't imagine a label that wouldn't want to work with you because you are so, you're hustling, man. You're a hustler, when it comes to music. I mean, you're doing everything that you need to do, and you're doing a great job. And thank you for coming on here and talking to. You're welcome anytime. I love
Well, thanks
talking with
for
you.
having me. It's been a good conversation, you know.
All right, and good luck with the new stuff. Like I said, your new music is really fantastic, and I'm psyched.
Awesome. Yeah. And, everyone who's listening, be sure to check it out. Linnea's Garden, Linnea's Garden Band on all the socials. Yeah, check us out. We're on Spotify and everywhere else you can stream the music. We got some videos on YouTube. Come see us live. We're playing a lot in the New England area.
Cool. Thanks.
Thank you.